Today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at the birthday problem, which is a probability problem. It's also known as the birthday paradox. Basically, what this says is that if 23 people are selected in random, there's a 50% chance that 2 people within the 23 randomly selected people are going to share a similar birthday. And as the number of people that are randomly selected goes up to about 100, there's a 99.9% chance that 2 people within the randomly selected group of people are going to share a similar birthday. So without wasting more time, let's get started. Welcome to Seed Media. So we're back to Visual Studio Code, and we've gone ahead to create a folder called birthday_paradox. And within the folder, we have a Python file named birthday.py. So the first thing, I believe that you must have taken out time to go through our previous tutorials. Everything we'll be doing in this tutorial going forward is built up on the previous tutorials. We'll be taking out time to explain some of the basic things that we already explained in our previous tutorials. Some of the previous tutorials include the Caesar cipher, the guessing game, the hangman, the password generator, and the rock, paper, scissors scripts. At the end of this tutorial, the entire script will be pushed to our GitHub page, and I will leave a link to the GitHub repository and other links that might be relevant, so including the Wikipedia page, in case you want to carry out a more detailed research regarding the birthday paradox. So the first thing we need to do is import the random module. We also need to import the date time, since we're going to be working with dates in this tutorial. Then we can go ahead and create a dictionary that houses a group of months. I'll quickly just speed this up so we don't waste much time typing this out. We're going ahead to create a dictionary that houses the months of the year. So we're going to be referencing each of the months of the dictionary using a numerical equivalent, and the values are the short form of each of the months of the year. So the next thing we need to do is to define a date start date. Unless this tutorial is being done in the year of 2022, I'm going to say date time.date, an empty variable list that's going to hold all our birthdays and matching birthdays. We're going to house all the birthdays that actually turn out to match. So the next thing we need to do right now is generate the random birthdays. I'll go and press generate random generate. Let's call this generate birthdays. Take the birthday number. We're going to write a for statement and say for in range birthday number or birthday number. It's a random day going to be equal to random dot run int. So we're going to generate random days within the 365 days. We're also going to say the current date is also going to be equal to start date. So we're going to take the start date and we're going to add the random generated days that we're going to generate within the random day variable. So we're going to say start date, and we're going to say plus date time dot time delta. So we can convert these is going to be equal to random day. So basically what we're saying right here is that the date time dot time delta is going to take the randomly generated numeric value and convert it into an exact date that's going to be added to the current or the base start date. So we can now say new date. When I get a new date, and it's equal to date time dot date time dot strip time. Convert it to a string, and let's say the current date that has been generated from adding the base date and the new randomly generated random date. Current date. We'll create the format of how we want the current date to show. Year, month, and day. Yeah, I think that should be fine. So we can now go ahead and say birthday. We can now go ahead and say birthday.append. Convert it to a string. Say new date dot day plus an empty string to give it a space. I'm going to say months new date dot months. We're going to return the birthday. So yeah, the function we've written here is quite straightforward. So basically, I'll just take a little bit of time and let me just go through it quickly. So we say we have a for statement, and we're using an underscore for the for statement value because we're not going to do anything with the value that's going to be generated from the range of the for statement. We're asking the program to pick out randomly selected values from 1 to 365. And I was saying that the current date is going to be equal to the base date, which is the start date of the 1st of January 2022, plus the time delta, which is going to be a day from the randomly generated day, and that's going to give us the current dates that we are going to be working with. Or I just call it current. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the day of the recording or anything. It's just the current date that we've decided to select to pick as the birthday, the date of the birthday that we want to work with. Then we create a new variable called new date, and the new date takes in the currently generated date and it formats it. Yeah, that's a mistake here. And it formats it in the way that we want it to look. We have the year first, then the month, then the day. Then we go back and take the newly generated date and append it to the empty list birthday that was globally declared before creating the generate birthdays function. We need to tell the user to enter the number of birthdays that we want to compare. We're going to say enter the number of birthdays to be compared. Enter birthday, and that's going to be equal to input. Let's say enter the number of birthdays you want to compare, and we're going to say we want the maximum birthday to be 100. Even though we're not going to go ahead and create restrictions that will limit the number of birthdays, I'm going to leave that as a take-home assignment. So next thing we need to do, we want to check the birthday is equal to generate birthdays. We'll give it int, enter the number of birthdays. So what we do is that we take in the user's input from that is going to be stored in a variable called enter birthday, convert it to an integer, and pass it through the function called generate birthdays. Then save it in a variable called check birthday. Check if birthdays are unique, and we'll say okay. We'll say if length. It's quite easy. Say if length check birthday is equal to length.set check birthday. The trick here is this: a set returns a group of unique characters. That means, and by the time we run the length of the variable, the initial length of the variable that hasn't been passed through the set method is going to be longer than the previous one. So we know that automatically that all birthdays were not unique. So that's just the trick. It's quite straightforward. So we say print all birthdays are unique. I want to say else. We have to check for check for matching birthdays. We're going to use the enumerate function in Python. We're going to say for key A, value A in enumerate. We're going to say birthday. We're going to say for key B, value B in enumerate. I'm going to say birthday. For this time, we're going to say key A plus 1 on that, yeah. Then we're going to say, okay, if value A is equal to value B, then we're going to say matching birthdays dot append. So basically, what this line of code is doing is it takes the value of A, that which is a birthday, and stores it and compares it against the values of B. So we keep a bare value of A, run through a series of number of birthdays, compare this single birthday with other birthdays, and we'll run that until we are done with the list. We're going to say matching birthday append value A. So for every birthday that occurs more than once, we're going to append it to the matching birthday list. We'll go ahead and say print the following. Let's say the following birthday occurred multiple, and we can now go ahead and print the birthdays that occurred multiple times. Let's say matching. Let's run the script and hopefully we won't be getting any error. Let's say Python birthday.py. Following birthdays appeared multiple times: 28, 20, and 25, 26. Let's run it again and let's try 12. So all birthdays are unique. So let's run 23. So the following birthdays occur. So in a randomly selected 22 group of people, there's a 50% chance that two birthdays are going to be similar. It could be more, it could be less. And then if we were to do 100 times, it gives us more number of birthdays. You can as well write a script to count the amount of birthdays that are similar, or you can actually just leave it like this. So I'll leave the rest of the tutorial out to you. You can go ahead here and restrict the number of birthdays that people can enter using probably an if-else statement, or use one of the methods we've done in any of our previous tutorials. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and I'll see you at the next video. Thank you.